Welcome to the learning portal of Thakur Vidya Mandir High School and Junior College. Welcome to the learning portal of Thakur Vidya Mandir High School and Junior College. Today we'll start with a new topic of class 12th Computer Science 1, that is software, Unit 4, HTML. This chapter consists of theory as well as program. The weightage of this chapter in board is 14 marks, wherein theory comprises of 3 or 4 marks question, and there will be program comprising of 10 marks with option. So according to your pattern paper, the last 10 mark section of your program will have one HTML program each. Topic to be covered in today's class is what is HTML, features of HTML, advantages and disadvantages of HTML, and what are tags and attributes related to it. So let's start. What is HTML? HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language, which is the most widely used language on web to develop web pages. HTML was created by Berners-Lee in late 1991, but HTML 2.0 was the first standard HTML specification published in year 1995. HTML 4.01 was a major version of HTML and it was published in late 1999. Though HTML 4.0 version is widely used, but currently we are working on HTML 5 version, which is an extension to 4.01, and this version was published in a year 2012. So basically HTML is used to create web pages, or you can say it is used to create World Wide Web document. Whatever web pages you create on HTML can be viewed in web browser. So we have web browser softwares like Internet Explorer, Mozilla, Google Chrome, etc. to view this HTML pages. Originally, HTML was developed with an intent of defining the structure of documents like your head, paragraph, list, and so on. But now HTML being widely used format web pages with the help of different tags available in HTML language. HTML is must for students and working professional to become a great software engineer, especially when they are working in web development domain. When I say hypertext markup language, what is the meaning of hypertext markup? Hypertext, when I say that, HTML is basically used to put down information or data on the pages. Now when I add extra features to those data, or when I add some formatting features to the data along with image, audio file, video file, etc., then those data becomes a hypertext. What is markup? Markup is process of taking ordinary text and adding extra symbols. So every information or data which is put on the web page or on the site is marked with a tag of HTML, which is a special symbol. We'll learn about tags in the further PPT. So these tags helps to add those formatting features on the data. That's why markup, and hence we termed it as hypertext markup language. HTML is a set of instructions given to the browser for formatting and layout of the web pages. You can create website through HTML. You can become a good web designer if you know HTML. You can have, if you know HTML properly, you can optimize your web page in a better way, and you can learn many other technologies which are related to HTML. The next is, what are the features which you can put on the web page with the help of HTML. So features of HTML are: first, HTML help user to navigate through web page rather than reading topics linearly. That is, if you get one of the topic, you can click on those topic and you can jump to the other topic for reading it. So it's a navigation. Document prepared in HTML include reference graphics and formatting tags. So you can put on audio, video files, graphics, image, etc. on the HTML document. HTML is hyperlink specification language. Hyperlink specification language is, there is interconnectivity of the web pages through a link which is called as hyperlink. The text which appears in a blue color on the web page, and when you bring a mouse pointer on that text and your finger pointer comes into picture, that particular text is known as hyperlink text. So HTML provides a hyperlink facility. HTML supports to frame including target windows and borderless frame. That is, you can have multiple screens or multiple web pages opening on a single browser at the same time. If you have seen Amazon or Flipkart site, you can view the frames in a way that half of the screen at the initial is showing an advertisement for the site. Then if you see the bottom part, in the bottom part again screen is divided into two halves, wherein left hand side you will see the search criteria, whereas on the right hand side you will get the information related to the search. So these are different frames, web pages defined which are fit inside the frame. So you can create a target windows and borderless frame through HTML. It contains powerful formatting facilities for text, page, images. Like for example, you can make text bold, italic, underline. You can change the color of the text. You can change the appearance of the text. You can have overhead line, etc. to the text or information which you put on the web page. It defines the syntax and placement of special embedded directions. So you have a proper syntax maintained for these, like you have a tag which is defined for each and every task in HTML. It supports all type of images, so you can put any kind of image on the web page, whether it is BMP, that is bitmap, GIF, that is graphical image format, or JPEG, joint picture export group. And it also supports forms to collect and process input. The data forms which are available on the web page can be easily made through HTML. Not only this, it also helps in internet navigation. That is, you can go from one page to another, as we learned. You can have a responsive UI. Nowadays you can create a mobile based application, tab based application through HTML. You can create an offline support, that is, once loaded, one page can be made available offline also. And you can also develop a web page game development projects through HTML5. Next topic is advantages of HTML. If you see the advantage of HTML, it's basically with the cost of developing an HTML project. And if I see what is the need or what is the platform required for HTML, you don't require any special software as such for HTML. If you know the syntax, if you know the tags of HTML, you can create your HTML project by having just one editor and one browser. So no special software required. It can be created on any platform, that is whether it is Windows, whether it is Mac, or whether it is Unix. You can create HTML project on any of the platform. It is easy to learn and implement. So if you know the meaning of a tag, and if you know the attributes or the properties related to that particular tag, you can implement those tags easily. It contains powerful formatting facility. Now, what is this powerful formatting facility? As we have learned in the features, that you can put any kind of data, any type of data on the web page. That can be your text, it can be your audio file, video file, image, etc. on the web pages. So even if you put your image or a data or a information in form of text, you can do changes to the features of those texts. So it has a powerful formatting facility. It required HTML pages can be updated easily without changing the whole document. So wherever you need to add a new data, you can go to that pointer. By giving a comment, you can add those new data inside that section. Hyperlinking facility is available. Hyperlinking is again, that is navigation which can be done from one page to another. So that facility is can be easily implemented in HTML. Editing of web pages are simple. Errors can be easily solved. For example, if I say that line number 4 has an error and it is not showing the data over there, so I just have to see line number 4 for the error solving. I don't have to look on with different set of lines to see where the error has happened. It's not case sensitive, so you can write it in a combination of uppercase, lowercase, or only lowercase or uppercase. It does not require any cost to construct HTML document. As I said you earlier, that in any of the platform, if you see, you have a editor which is there with you, and even you have a browser with that particular platform. So both the softwares are easily available on your desktop or computer. So there is no cost involved in making HTML document. Every software has cons attached to it. Similarly, HTML do have cons with it, as HTML is only used to put on data or information on the web pages. So you can create only static and plain pages. So we cannot create a dynamic page through HTML. Now, what is this dynamic page? When I say a dynamic page, you can see some of the web pages, they display time, they give you applications, all those features on the web page. Now when I see all those features on the web page, it is not made through HTML. So you cannot put any simple calculation also on a HTML page by using a simple HTML code. You cannot create an interactive web pages. For example, if I fill a form, the form is filled. I can create a form with HTML. When I click on a submit button, the data will not be transferred to the server. For that, you have to learn some extra language along with HTML. For example, it can be JavaScript, it can be your C++, Java. All those language has to support HTML for dynamic pages. I need to write a lot of code for making a simple web page. Like if you see some of the web page, when they are very informative, and if it is very long, you have to go on typing the code for a long duration. So it's very complex also. Sometimes when so many lines I have to write, it leads to the complexity of the web page. Then you forget what section of area was made. You cannot even display simple date and time on the web page with HTML, and your web page will not behave like an application. Or sometimes you will see on the web page you have your age calculator, or when you see something like when you give data and your image is processed, or a new image is given to you, all those applications are embedded on the HTML page. It is not made through HTML. Security features are not good with HTML. Like, people can download your HTML page and they can update it, although they cannot post it on your server, but they can update it and can use the same page for their own website. So security is not good. Web pages developed on HTML do not have its own interface. Own interface means they don't have their own front end or back end. So you have to use some other language again to support that. To view HTML document, trip to server is required at each step. So when I say trip to server requirement, internet connectivity is a must to view a HTML page. Now when I say this HTML internet connectivity, it is when your page is published on a server on the World Wide Web. And so because of entire feature, HTML is not a programming language in true sense. Because when I say programming language, I create an application with the programming language. So we say HTML is just a powerful formatting tool, not a language. Softwares for HTML. As I said in the previous PPT, that HTML can be developed on any platform. The only requirement to develop HTML project is you need a text editor and you need a browser. So if I see the text editor part, in text editor there is 3 text editor depending on which platform you are using. For example, for Windows operating system you have Notepad. For Macintosh you have a simple text. For Unix you have Pico. Similarly, web browser, for web browser, that is to see the content of this particular HTML document. For web browser you have Windows, which support Internet Explorer, so then you have Safari, you have Mozilla Firefox, Chrome, etc. For Macintosh you have again Safari. For Unix you have platforms like Lynx, eLinks, Link. All these are your browser for Unix. Now we'll move to the programming section. As we have discussed in the earlier part, that when I create a HTML document, there is a symbol which is added on the web page or on the text editor. That symbol is termed as tag. You can also term tag as a label to a data or information, because those tags tell your data, tell the browser that what or in what way the data or the information has to be displayed on the web pages. So if I see the definition of tag, a tag is a single unit of markup. As I said, markup is a label which is given to the information on the web pages. It is a set of symbols defined in HTML to have special meaning. So every tag will have its own meaning and accordingly it will act on the pages. Tags are instructions that are written in the text editor. It is written in the text editor and it will give you one step-by-step instruction to the browser to execute those commands on the data or information. If I say tag, the name tag is actually a name. So it is written inside a bracket which is specified with an orange color, and those bracket is known as angle bracket. So whatever tag you define or your symbol you define or the word or text you define, if you enclosed it between those angular bracket, then it is termed as tag. Tag consists of 2 parts. One is start tag and the other one is end tag. Start tag gives you the initialization of the information, whereas end tag tells you that where the effect will end or where the formatting will end. According to the start and end tag, you have tags of 2 types, empty tag and container tag. What is empty tags? Empty tags will have only a start tag. It will not be accompanied with the end tag. As in when we'll learn about different tags and their features or their working pattern, will know which is a container tag and which is an empty tag. What is container tag? Container tag contains information inside it, so it will be enclosed between a start and end tag. So the data whatever we are putting on the browser will be enclosed. If it is enclosed between start and end tag, then this particular tag is known as container tag. You can also see that start tag has only angular bracket, whereas end tag has angular bracket followed by the slash, the backward slash symbol, and the data whatever you will write, and then the closing of the angular bracket. The next important part of your HTML language is attribute. Attribute is accompanied along with your tag. So attributes are inserted right with the tag that are used to affect tag's behavior. It is always added in a start tag of HTML. It defines element behavior. Like an example, if I say a particular room, I have various properties to those rooms, like what is the color of the room, what is the height of that particular room, or what is the width of that particular room. So these height, width, color, it act as an attribute to the particular room. So if this act as an attribute, similarly each tag will have its own attribute. Now there can be one attribute or there can be more than one attribute to a particular tag. Also, if I say color of a room, and if the color is, say for example, cream or off-white, so off-white becomes a value for that particular color. So same way attribute will also have values assigned to it. Now there are two types of attributes again. You have required or mandatory attribute, which is present with the tag and it has to be written, whereas some of the attributes are optional, that is, it depends on the user whether he wants to add that attribute to the tag or he doesn't want to add the attribute. So the programmer will decide accordingly that optional attribute has to be included or not. How is attribute basically written? It is written as, see, you will have a start tag angular bracket open, then you will have a tag name, then you will have a space in between. After that you will have attribute 1, whatever is the name of the attribute. Now we just have given as an example as attribute 1, and what is the value of that attribute. So you have to put equal sign and the value will be enclosed with double quotes. Similarly, if there are more than one attribute, you can go on providing space in between and you can start on with the next attribute. So attribute 2 equal to value, again value has to be enclosed in the bracket. Then you will close the bracket, angular bracket. You will provide with the data or information on which you want to put the tag effect, and then you will have a you will have a end tag accompanied along with it. How to write or how to prepare a HTML document and how to view the HTML document. Since most of us will be using Windows operating system as a platform, and as the school provide you with the Windows operating system, we'll first open a notepad, that is your text editor. You will write the code of HTML as according to the data which you want to display. Then you will save, click on save option. When you click on the save option, notepad basically goes as a text file. So you have to write the extension along with that particular file name as .html or .htm, which will make your text file as a browser file. Then close the file, open a browser, for example IE, Chrome, etc., any of the browser which is available on your computer. Then browse the file or type the appropriate file address of HTML file in the address bar. Wherever you type that www.google, that is your address bar. So if you have it on your native computer, native computer is your own computer, then you have to browse the folder in which you have saved your file. Say for example you have saved on the desktop, so you have to go on the desktop and you have to browse those files. So it will be basically the desktop file goes in C drive, so it will be C:/ and whatever is the folder name with the file name .html. Once you open the file, the information will be displayed on the web browser. Always remember that when you save a file on your notepad, it has to be saved as .html as a document. So here we end with today's topic of HTML. That is, it was just an introduction of your HTML. Now what are the board questions related to this particular topic? We have done most of the topics related to the information which we need for the further learning of HTML, but there are some questions which can be asked from this topic also. What is HTML? What are the advantages of HTML? What are disadvantages of HTML? List features of HTML. What is HTML? Name any two softwares used to write HTML code. So these are the basic questions which can be asked from this particular part of your HTML. So thank you for the day. Love and peace from TVM family.